Good afternoon. I'm Daniel Guest, and welcome to the Imagen Golf podcast brought to you by Imagen Golf and PXG. You can go to our site, imagengolf.com, see all of our offerings, including our free drills, our practice plan, some golf ebooks and videos, and a book a lesson with me, either at our state-of-the-art studio right outside of Philadelphia or at one of our 3 facilities in the area as well. And you can sign up for our free tips and videos that go out every week, once a week, every week, by simply dropping us your email. Hey, I'm going to talk about a topic that we've touched on in different podcasts before, and it sounds pretty obvious, but I'm amazed how many people don't do this, and it's simply a plan. You've got to have a plan, all right? No one gets better, and I mean no one gets better, by just hitting golf balls. If they did, everyone on the driving range would be getting better, and just when you said it out loud, you know that's not true. They're not getting better, all right? So you need to have a plan, all right? Not a goal, right? A plan. Because, I think I don't remember exactly who told me this or who said this. It's probably someone famous. But a goal without a plan is simply a dream, right? Let me repeat that. A goal without a plan is simply a dream, right? So you can have the best intentions, best goals. You could say things like to yourself, hey, I'm going to practice a lot more this season. I'm going to work on my short game this season. I'm going to be a better driver of the golf ball this season. All of these are good goals, but if you don't put a plan behind them, it is unequivocally not going to happen. The average handicap in America is anywhere between 16 and 18, depending on what source you believe, and it's been the same for 50 years, 5 decades. All right, that's not good. All right, and that includes all the advances we've had in instruction. That includes all the advances we've had in equipment. And people just aren't getting better, all right? Now, those that take less in golf are getting way better, but that's a different story. But no, seriously, though, look, let's talk about the plan, okay? Well, let me tell you a quick story first off foremost. I recently got invited to work on this documentary with a good friend of mine that owns a training aid company. It's called Perfect Hands. We're going to talk about Perfect Hands on a different podcast. But he invited me down to West Palm Beach to film in this documentary called Viewpoint Project. It's by Dennis Quaid. It's basically a documentary series with about different things that public interest they call it. So whatever's interesting in the world today can make it onto this documentary. And his training aid has done that because it's helped so many different people in the game of golf that the public interest story. So sure enough, of course, I said, yeah, I'll help you any way I can. So we get on a plane, we come down, they fly us to West Palm, and we go to the campus of Kaiser University, which is right inside of West Palm Beach. And what's nice about Kaiser University is they were the national champions last year, 2022, for both men's and women's golf. And that hardly ever happens, right? To be the champions of both. So got to meet with some of their students there, got to meet with, obviously, their coaching staff and everything. And again, we'll probably talk about that. I'll have them on a different podcast as well. But it's a great setup, man. The school of golf there at Kaiser University is incredible. And I'm sure, any school of golf these days, but there wasn't even such thing as a school of golf when I was in learning. Just to be on there was breathtaking. But prior to the day, we all got together. And he invited one of the top junior players from Canada. She was there, a young woman, phenomenal golfer. And so her parents were there, and the coaching staff was there, and this guy that runs Perfect Hands, Mario, was there. So make another long story short, we just got to talking, and I was talking about a famous story, if you would, that Hank Haney speaks about, where he talks about how to be a Tiger coach. And it's a fascinating story, and simply that Hank gets a phone call one day, literally his cell phone rings, and it's Tiger. And Tiger says, hey, Hank, what's up? And and Hank, if you know Hank, and I don't know him really well, but I know him enough, he's pretty straightforward. He's like, hey, what's up, Tiger? And Tiger says to him, hey, Hank, I've been thinking about a bunch of things. I'm working on a bunch of things. I was hoping you could come and take a look at my swing. And Hank says to him, well, yeah, sure, Tiger, I'd be happy to. Let me wrap a few things up. Let me look at some flights, and I'll get back to you. And Tiger's like, no need. I'll send a jet, and you guys can come down and meet me tomorrow. And so Hank gets on Tiger's jet, goes to meet him, in South Florida, and they're on the range, right? And Tiger's hitting balls, and Hank's sitting behind him or standing behind him like the proverbial coach does, right? And Tiger's hitting a bunch of balls, and he looks back to Hank and he says, "Well, aren't you going to say anything?" And Hank looks at him and says, "I will just, hit a few more balls," right? And just that piece of the story just blows me away, right? Can you imagine someone, Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer of all time, to hit a few more balls, right? So that's just cracking me up there. But if you know Hank, again, that's just the way he rolls. And then so Tiger just hits a few more balls and then looks back and actually drops an expletive and says, "Hey, you're gonna have to say something, man." And so Hank says, "Look, Tiger, I'm just trying to figure out what is your plan. It doesn't look to me like you have a plan." And that's all he needed to say to Tiger. And they were signing an agreement and a contract within the hour practically. And Hank went on to be was arguably the best coach that Tiger has ever had statistically, right? So I was telling that story at dinner, and we were all joking about it later on, like when we went to Kaiser University, we're filming the documentary, and I rolled up onto this top professional or top collegiate athlete. And they're like, "What do you think?" My swing. And I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't look like you have a plan." I was kind of joking, but I kind of wasn't. And, and this elite golfer from Canada, she, young kid, probably going to be a star, right? I'm not sure that even she has a plan, right? And when I asked her something like, what's her big miss? She didn't have one. She said she doesn't have one. And that can't be true. Everybody has a big miss. So let's talk about what has to be in a plan. The best plans, have all these things in them. But even if you just had a few of these, you would be better off and more likely to succeed. All right. First of all, the best plans are specific. Look, what is it that you're working on? Right? You can't say, "Hey, I'm working on my short." That's not specific. You can't say, "Hey, I'm trying to get off the tee box better." That is not specific enough. All right. You cannot operate in generalities. So you've got to be conscious, especially. You've got to be specific. So you've got to say, "Hey, I'm going to be better at chipping. I'm going to increase my chipping from 75 yards in to 95%, meaning I'm going to hit the greens and make it stop on the green 95% of the time. I'm going to hit 13 fairways out of 14 when I pick up my driver on the tee box. I'm going to stop coming over the top, and have a flatter golf swing." So you get the idea, right? It's got to be something specific like that. What is it exactly that you're working on? And it should be, in concert with your big miss, right? So if you come over the top, as an example, that should be on the list. Let's fix that first, right? If you're a sucker of the golf ball, like most people are, that should be in the plan, right? We need to fix that first and foremost. It doesn't make any sense to fix the smaller pieces of your game or the smallest challenges in your game and or your golf swing if you still have that big miss going on, right? And we talked about it another time. So another podcast. But you get the idea, specific. The second element it has to have is a time component. You've got to put a time component behind it, all right? Hey, I'm going to fix my over-the-top swing in 3 weeks. Hey, I'm going to hit 90% of the fairways with my driver over the next 6 weeks, right? In the next 6 weeks, I mean. So you get the idea, right? You've got to attach a time component to it, or it gets back to just the goal piece, right? So the goal, the plan, and the plan that starts including these elements such as specific and time, all right? The third piece is drills. You've got to have some drills to force some type of change, right? At Imagen, we're big believers in evidence-based and biomechanical training, meaning evidence. We make sure that we're working on what's appropriate, but with the evidence, whether that's video or a combination there of both, all right? And then from there, then we put the evidence in drills that force a biomechanical change that's going to help fix whatever we're working on. It could be a stance change. It could be a grip change. It combination of both. But these drills are designed to force the student to do something differently biomechanically, and therefore be able to feel the difference, right, that they're not used to feeling in their golf swing. If a student can feel a change, they can replicate it. If they can't feel it, it doesn't matter how much time you spend talking about it or working on it, it ain't going to happen. All right. So first three are specific. First one is specific. The second one is time. The third one is drills. And those drills, by the way, should be on-ball drills, meaning you're hitting golf balls, and clearly off-ball drills as well. What are you doing off the golf ball? Just as important as on the golf ball, right? Do you have drills that you're doing that you can do in your living room that are going at the same problem, maybe from a different angle? If you work out, do you have drills that you can do in the gym that's going after that same problem as well? All right. This is all part of a good plan. All right. And then the last piece is validation. We've got to be able to validate that we're making progress, right? So if you have a golf instructor and they're not going through any of this stuff with you, first of all, get rid of them. All right. Call me up or hit me up on imagengolf.com and we'll do virtual lessons. But seriously, though, if your coach isn't using some type of technology to validate a starting point before you start this process, and then some checkpoints along the way, and then clearly an end point, like we discussed 3 weeks down the road, 6 weeks down the road, whatever it is, all right, then it's not a plan. It might be a goal, but it's not a plan. So get with someone that's going to do things for you, right? I can assure every single solitary student, every one of them, 200 and plus and change, right? Have a plan, Imagen Golf plan. They all know what they're working on. They all know their big miss, and they all have a time frame and drills that they're working on to correct the challenges that they have, right? And I got to tell you, it works. And not only does it work from a business standpoint, right? Our average student takes about 9 lessons. The average student in the industry takes about 2. So clearly what we're doing is working. But bigger than that, I get inundated with texts and messages and emails on a daily basis, right? Hey, played my best round today. Hey, my over the top is gone. I can't believe I'm drawing the ball. I haven't drawn anything since 3rd grade. Seriously, I get these on a daily basis. So I know what we're doing is making an impact. I've seen it firsthand, right? And I've seen it with students that are really good golfers that don't have a plan, and they're probably not going to fix what they're working on, right? So take it for what it's worth, all right? A goal without a dream is is not a plan. Let me start that over there. A goal without a plan is just a dream, all right? So that's how we started. That's how I ended today. And get a plan. If you need a plan, or if you think you have, you go over the top, or you need to fix, X, your big miss is X, and you need a plan, hey, let me know. I'm happy to craft a plan for anyone that, listens to the podcast and just drops me a DM or a simple email or text or whatever, right? I'll do it for free because I know it works. And if it works, I know you'll come back, and I know you'll tell lots of friends and family about Imagen Golf, and the rest is history, all right? So thanks for listening to the podcast. Please hit the follow button below. You can find us anywhere that you find your podcast, if you would. Be sure to check out our site, imagen.com, and follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're on every one of them. And here's to get you the game you've always imagined.